Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Marshall, and if you guys haven't seen me before, you guys will just stay tuned, and I hope you guys like the video. If you guys end up liking me and what I do, then please just hit that like button and subscribe, and always comment, because I like to respond to the comments. It makes me feel like, I don't know, you guys care. And me responding, I hope makes you feel like I care, because I do care, and yada yada. But today's topic is going to be familiars. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this topic is because a few nights ago, my cat Sage died. And one of my friends, she's like, oh, so you lost your familiar. And my cat wasn't my familiar. I have yet to find a familiar, but that's because I don't believe a familiar is just a pet that a witches has. So my understanding of familiars is a spirit or imp that gets attached to a witch and is there to assist them. That's my rooster, sorry. To assist them inside their magic and to help them in their magical practices and so on and so forth, and the protection as well. And familiars have been fairly popular around the witch community for a long time. Let's go back to Salem. In Salem, they believed that familiars, toads, cats, owls, frogs, and rats, and spiders, they were demons sent to help witches and do their evil deeds, collect hair, so on and so forth, so that they could curse them. Now, when they were doing the witch trials, they believed that skin tags, I have one on my neck, it's either on this side, or it's on this side right here. Skin tags like this, right here, were said to be, I also have one on my hip, but they were said to be, they're also known as the witch's tit, and it's when familiars would be able to feed off of their life force, so that way they would stay alive, and so on and so forth. That's how a witch would feed them. So if you had skin tags or anything in the witch trials, you were convicted of being a witch and were sent to trial because you had evidence. And the more you had, the more likeliness you're to be good at, because that does mean you have more than one familiar. But familiars also in practical magic, they were said to help assist in magics and all that. But I don't believe a familiar is it's not an animal you can buy. You can't go down to like an animal shelter, get a cat, dog, or whatever, be like, oh, this is my familiar. I mean, you can do that. I'm not saying you can't, but the likeliness of you forming that bond with the animal, that very spiritual bond with the animal, rather than just the emotional and childlike, parent-like bond they can have with the animal, I personally don't believe that you can have that with a familiar. A familiar is more like an animal that finds you. Like if you're very deep in depression, or you have anxiety, or you're going through a hard time in your life, and that one animal they just find on this street, just like you form that instant connection with, like in a snap of your fingers, like as soon as you see it and you just feel like you've known this animal your entire life, and you guys get along perfectly, like fine, like they just, like, they're perfect for you, it's possible that can be a familiar. But a lot of times a familiar won't show up in an actual, like, physical manifestation. A lot of the time, if you're going to have a familiar, it's going to be more like a spiritual one. And you can make a familiar bottle, which is kind of like a witch's bottle. Let's say you want like a cat or something, or a certain type of animal, then you could put sprigs of a cat inside there, and it can help attract an animal. And it probably won't manifest a physical adaptation of the animal. You might have a spiritual one. You might see cats in your dreams or something like that. Very familiar, because a familiar can also be seen as a spirit guide in some cultures. Not saying that they are in all cultures, but in some cultures, especially European folklore, I'm pretty sure that a spirit animal can also be your familiar, and vice versa, and they can be completely separate as well. And it's just, I don't know, it's just something that you're very, like, attuned to, a very spiritual thing that you're attuned to. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to, like, have this start this video, is because one of my cats did die, and it's a fairly sad thing. But I don't really see, well, as you all know, I work with Hecate, so death to me isn't really like a bad thing. It's the transition. Hecate has 3 forms, and so do we. We have birth, life, and death. Just like Hecate has the mother, the maiden, the crone. It's all part of this. It's a cycle. So to me, death isn't the end of something, but the beginning of something else. I saw something a while back, and it was a picture, and it showed a family crying over their dead, relative and saying just because it's a departure for you doesn't mean it's not a reunion for someone else. So let's say she is reunited with all of like her friends that she had beforehand, because I actually my family found her at this old abandoned house and they took her home because I'm a hospice for animals. So we don't know it, but I usually get like old animals and they die and I bury them and I perform their final rites. I do final rites for them, asking the goddess to carry them on to their next life, whoever that may be, and protect them and guide them. But even a kitten that we found, she ended up having feline coronavirus and she actually ended up dying from it. She was only like 6 months old, which is really sad, but it happens. And I actually don't mind doing that. I feel like that's like a chore that the goddess has given me, or a purpose the goddess has given me, is being the final home for certain animals to give, to like pass them on to her. And Hecate is known to have a few familiars herself. She, of course, is most famous for her dogs, the hounds, Hecate's hounds, the guardians of Crossroads, and herself. She is also known for having a ferret, which was said to be the Queen of Troy after Troy fell from the Romans, or the Greeks. It's the Romans, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not ashamed to admit that. But, it's the Romans. But, when Troy fell, she went to go jump off the ledge where Troy was, and the goddess saved her and turned into a ferret. And she's also known for having snakes as well. But yeah, no, I personally don't believe that familiars are just pets that you can have. It's a very physical, it's a physical and emotional, relationship you have with this thing, a very spiritual one, a mental connection in a certain way. Yeah, no, and not all witches have to have familiars. I personally don't have a familiar. I don't like to borrow, energy sources from other life. I feel like if I can't do it on my own and help with my ancestors and my goddess, then I shouldn't be doing it right now. I'm not ready for it. But that's just me. That doesn't have to be everybody else. If you guys do have familiars, I'd love to see pictures of them. Just go to the Magical Adventures of Marshall on Instagram and just tag me. And I'd love to see all your cute little furries. So I just love pets, so that'd be nice. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for hopefully weekly videos. I'm going to try to be doing them more often. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, evening, birthday, Christmas, whenever you guys are watching this. May the goddess guide you and her hounds protect you. Bye.